Hello and welcome to an update video with my Volvo here with a V10. Very loud right now because the exhaust is open and it's kind of a cold start. Take this down. Bit more quiet. Yeah, once again, hello and welcome to a new video with my Volvo 245 here with a V10. Hopefully you can hear better now when it's a little bit more quiet. It has been a little bit quiet on my channel about this car this year. That's because my other build you have seen, the mid-engine 244 I have worked on. But I have done a little bit of work on this car. So this is a little bit of a summary what happened with this car. I have been doing some driving with the car and a little bit of work. Not as much as previous years, but I built this one last year. It got ready. So let's jump back to earlier this year when I took the car out for the first time of the year. I just took the Volvoghini out here from the garage. First time after the winter. Started up and I will do some testing with the new brakes, new dampers and some small changes. Power steering, I've been working with the steering a lot. And could hear sound from this head. This one sounds much better, but yeah, some strange sound here. Hopefully nothing serious, we'll see. My speedo here is not working, but I got a speedo here from BjornTech here in Sweden. Digital speedometer and fuel gauge. I got this package here with a gauge that is supposed to be fitted to the original place here. And sticker, of course. Thank you. We'll see. There is some installation instruction here. And this is made for electronic sensors in the rear axle, and this one also should be working with the BMW 210 I have back there in this Volvo. So yeah, I'll read the instructions and install this one. It even have this push button to reset the trip meter. Don't know if that is working or not, but something is this switch doing. Okay, so thank you BjornTech. They have several different gauges, I think, for Volvos. Yeah, the speedo has been working good. It's made for the Volvo rear axles, but it also worked with the BMW sensor. And these BjornTech speed sensors, also fuel level sensor in them. They make them for several different kind of Volvos. If you want to have a digital speedometer, check out BjornTech. One problem I have with the car is some vibrations, and I think it's coming from the drive shaft here, and it is in about 80 kilometers per hour. There is some vibrations. If I'm driving faster it's better, and slower it's better, but that's the legal speed when you're towing a caravan or something. And yeah, many roads are like 80-90 in Sweden kilometers per hour. So I will bring this drive shaft now. I removed it and take it for balancing. It's modified but not balanced, and I'm also gonna check with them if it's correct to have a drive shaft like this. In the front here it's harder, in this one is straight, and then it's a slip spline here with a normal joint here. And in Sweden we actually call these kardan, and that's because yeah, the whole shaft is a kardan axle, and that's because the guy that found these I found out it's a French guy called Cardon, or his name was Cardon, but in US I think you call it like a drive shaft, maybe in many English-speaking countries. But yeah, just a cool thing, Cardon axle. And back here we have a CV joint. I'm not sure it's possible to use like a universal joint there and the CV joint in the back. We'll ask the guys, the professionals, when I bring it to the drive shaft shop. Yeah, here's the workshop that fixed my drive shaft. Some nice machines here for working on drive shafts. And yeah, some tubes here for making drive shafts. Cardon service here in Gothenburg. I had a bit of problem with the lambda sensor reading on one bank, so I was looking if I should replace the lambda sensor, but then I found out that the connector, it was actually a little bit of oil inside there, so maybe it could be the problem. And I have this lambda to CAN unit here, so the both lambda sensors inputs from them, and by CAN bus it's sending the information to the ECU. That is actually a really good thing to have this, if you have a separate lambda sensors or a separate controller, to have the information sent by CAN. It can be a problem if you're having like an Innovate or AEM meter and send the voltage signal to the ECU. It's very important you have the correct same ground positions for those two units. So if you don't have it and it's a little bit of difference in ground, it can show incorrect lambda readings. I've seen that several times before. This one was hidden under the intake manifold here by a P-clamp on the oil plate there, and it should not be oil leaks. Now it is a little bit of oil leak there, not that much, but I could see that everything in this was a little bit wet. And the problem is that the alternator here, it's installed in the middle, so I had to remove all of this to get access to it. Now I'm gonna move everything back here, so it will be accessible, more easy to service it, and maybe not as nice and clean, but I have learned that making all nice and clean, it also makes it a lot harder to work on when you should troubleshoot and fix some things. Let's see, I've tried to clean these ones out. You can still see that it's a little bit of wet there, so yeah, trying to dry them out as good as possible, because if there is oil coming into these, even though they are sealed, I think there can come some small fluid in and make some strange readings. It is time for some drag racing or street racing at the airstrip here nearby, so I'm gonna put on my drag tires here on the rims. But this one, it's widened rims here. They have been leaking before. I repaired on one place, but it's still leaking. I thought I found it, but after now it has been standing a couple of weeks. And yep, one more small hole there. I will weld in this one. Volvoghini, the V10 245er, and my Midvo. On this drag racing, I just made a test pass, and then I lost in the first round against the BMW Turbo there. This is not really built for drag racing, so I was just mostly there for fun with this car, and it was the Midvo Våflanda, the car that was the priority that day, and it worked a lot better drag racing than this car until the engine gave up in that one. We're out for a little drive here, and in a couple of weeks I had it as a daily driver. I found a couple of nice cars to race. Here's a Porsche, but it's like a family car, so this one is nothing that want to be raced, I think. Cayenne, and yeah, it's working pretty good, and it's fun to drive this car, especially with the open exhausts. On the Oddo, so it's 1,100 kilometers, so not that much, but that's what I have driven this year. No long road trips, actually. I think last year it was over 5,000 kilometers, so then it was with a caravan, and I went for some of the longer road trips. Hopefully next year it will be something like that, when all of the small problems is sorted as well. Here we can see the little dash as well. Values. Now it is time to take the car into the garage and do some serious work on the car. This one was built last year, or it was finalized last year, so it has been in working condition for 1 year now. So I have some things I need to work on. One, something special like this. A lot of special with the engine and the gearbox. It pops up some problems, I would say, with the car. So I have several problems. I have a long list with small problems I want to fix, because I want to have this as a car you can just start whenever you want, turn the key and go out for a drive. I can do it now as well, but there's still a little bit too much problem for my liking. Let's go through all of the problems, and we can see what I can do about it. One thing I will do, but it's not really a problem, it's the rear brakes. They're working, but I will put on some bigger brakes in the back so it matches the front ones. One thing you can see here, it's a lot of dirt here, and it's actually coming from the radiator. This radiator has been leaking for quite some while now. This is the same radiator that was in here when I had a 2J Supra engine in this one. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's leaking. Some say I should put some like sealant on the outside here, but I don't think that is serious enough. And as you can see, I have welded on some fittings here on the sides, and some brackets for this one, and brackets for water pump down here, and made it more narrow here for the frame of the car. So I think I will just replace the cells in the middle and use the end tanks still. See that it's a bit of wet here, some oil. I think it's coming oil here from the crankcase ventilation, and I'm not really happy how this oil tank, it's a Peterson fluid oil tank, so I think it should be good. This one and this one, two here, are for ventilation, and then I made a little manifold here. I think these are from the heads. Yes, coming up here from the heads. and it should drain back, but I'm not really happy how it works. It pushes out a little bit of oil, and it's not a turbo car, so it should not be very high pressure in the crankcase in this one. One big problem I had already from the beginning, it's the power steering. It's a little bit heavy, what do you say? And if you should try to steer quickly back and forth, like drifting, it's too heavy, so I cannot move it. I'm having this power steering pump here, so I will try to work on that one. Maybe this one is an Opel, do not match how the the Volvo steering rack there, or maybe I've put some restrictors in. So that's it. We'll see. Now I think I will take it into the garage and we check under the car, because I think most of the issues now are under the car, maybe. Car just came in, someone was out driving, and you could really hear quite some leak here in the radiator. Also, one thing, if I want to cool it down, many kind of race cars have a button for that, but I have I have to have the ignition on. But when I press more than 80% and the engine is not running, it's running the water pump and the fan fully to cool down the car. If you have to what do you say, stop quite quickly. And now you can see the temp goes down pretty quickly there from 94 to 87. So that's a good thing with an PDM. You can make all of these kind of functions out of it has throttle position and everything, so I'm full of buttons here. Then you can use the throttle, for example. Depress it again and the fans and the water pump goes on. And it looks like the belt for the dry sump is out, so lost the oil pressure. This is the belt for the alternator. It went as well, I don't know if that one went first, maybe, and then the belt for the oil pump. Bummer. Now it's garage time. Yeah, car is at home here, and it is always a bit of problem to get it inside there. Need to get a winch so I can get it up there. It's a small uphill. We'll see. Here is the belt, and I think it is this alternator belt that skipped first, and this dry sump belt is looking all fine here. And I made a huge mistake here actually. It got in an rev limit, very low one, so it could only idle. Before I had some LEDs, very strong ones, red ones, for bad oil pressure in here, but then I changed it out to this CAN gauge here, and from that one I have not programmed any oil pressure or warning. I think I can have a warning in that one as well. So I should have programmed so the car shut off completely when oil pressure gets so low, or no oil pressure at all, or I should have at least an oil pressure warning. I did not have anything of that, so big mistakes on me here. And I have to say, I missed that when this engine and everything was put in here. It was in very hurry last year before Street Week, and did not think about that. at that time, and when everything has been working good, I have not thought about that. You should of course have an oil pressure warning lamp, or shut off the engine when something like that happens. So I have learned something from that. Too bad. Either now I could put this belt on and try to start engine and see how the oil pressure is, if it's coming some debris out of the oil. Maybe it's all fine to do that, but I'm not sure what to do. Maybe I should take the oil pan off and check the rod bearings, for example, and see if there is any debris, how the bearings looks like, if they have taken any damage on them, or the crankshaft. So that would be the most safe thing to do, but I'm not sure right now. Now up on the lift, and I can show some more to-do list things. One thing that I want to do in the rear axle, it's to put in some new discs, and these ones to change the ramp angles on the diff to make it more lock. I had problems in the past. Sometimes when cornering it was spinning just on the inner wheel, but it have helped absolutely when I'm installed these BC Racing coilovers here. More stiffer, and now it's locking up on both, but we'll take this apart, I think, the BMW. Some discs in here, and make it lock a little bit more left and right hand side. Also maybe I will change the the gear ratio in this one. It is a little bit long for drag racing. It's not good, as you could see on the drag race, but this is not built for drag racing, so maybe I keep it. One thing here is that to-do list now, it have been starting leaking fuel. Looks like it is on the back side here. So when I refuel it, it leaks fuel, so I have to take that apart and see what could leak. It should absolutely not leak fluid or fuel, I would say. And I have oil leaks. You can see here it's leaking oil. Don't know everywhere it is leaking, but I think also it's coming from up here in the engine, almost from the cylinder head maybe. Very strange. Have leaked there all the time, and I will want to have as a dry engine if possible. I think maybe some of my welding here as well have start leaking now. It was a long time ago I was drawing this up, but we'll remove the front beam here to see where the oil leaks. With the gearbox also, I saw here it is a crack in the welds here, between the weld, and don't think it's that long there, and also not the nicest welds, but hopefully it would hold together. Everywhere else I can see around here the welds is all fine, but maybe this one I do not had it bolted up when I welded, and then when installing this, or when I see some marks here when the gearbox is going up and down several times here in the past, it made it crack there. So I will drill that out, grind it out, and put some new welds in. Should not be cracked gearbox like that. Otherwise, gearbox have been working good, except of it's do not like. I don't know if the synchros are bad, but or if it is the RPM of this engine that this one do not like. The BMW is not absolutely not revving that high, but revving to 9,000 and putting in second gears, you cannot get it in. So you have to have a little bit lower RPM on the first gear to the second. Alright, I think that's it for this video. I will work on these engines and we'll come back pretty soon, I hope, with some information if the engine is good or bad. I really do not hope I have another broken V10 here in the shop. This car is more than enough broken engine here, so we'll see. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.